advocates, I'm Rachel Smith. In Florida, a state lawmaker who supported the Don't Say Gay bill has been found guilty of wire fraud and money laundering. Prosecutors say GOP state representative Joseph Harding received more than $150,000 in small business loans by lying on COVID relief fund applications. He's been sentenced to 4 months in federal prison. Harding resigned from the Florida House last year. He was the sponsor of the controversial Don't Say Gay bill. It banned certain instruction and discussion about sexual orientation and gender identity in Florida elementary schools. Millions of Americans wore purple today in honor of Spirit Day, which is the world's most visible anti-bullying movement. Spirit Day is GLAAD's annual day to inspire LGBTQ plus youth to live their lives in their truth and authenticity. Actor and advocate Laverne Cox and Drag Race star Peppermint are joining a pledge against anti-LGBTQ bullying. Cox then lit up the Empire State Building in purple. Others showing support this year include the NBC, the NFL, and the American Library Association. Well, October marks National Disability Employment Awareness Month. President Biden also recently celebrated the passing of the Americans with Disabilities Act. It prohibits discrimination based on disability. But the community still faces several hurdles when it comes to travel and other activities. But the Easter Seals is working to change that. And the Advocate Channel's Aaron Dean has more.
Aaron and Lily, welcome back to the show. We're so glad to have you all again.
Thank you for having us again. We love coming on here.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yes, and either one of you can take this question. Can you all share with our viewers at home what Easter Seals is and the work that you all are doing?
Sure. So Easter Seals is a major nonprofit, and we provide on-the-ground disability services and supports through 70 affiliates nationwide, through all ages and all stages of life. We have employment services, autism services, medical rehabilitation, and so much more. And we also serve veterans and older Americans as well.
Yeah, and our public education policy and program initiatives positively shape perceptions and get rid of really harmful and outdated stigmas, and then also just continue to address the urging and ever-evolving needs of the disabled community.
And today we're here to discuss, accessibility when it comes to traveling. Can you discuss how Easter Seals is engaging in this particular issue right now?
Yeah, I can start with this one. Easter Seals is engaging in many ways. Our president and CEO, Kendra Davenport, and many of the leaders from those 70 affiliates across the country are in DC every month, meeting with lawmakers and making sure that disability equity is a priority in Washington. We also host a partnerships and policy forum in the spring. This year, we presented our report on the state of disability equity, which included many areas, including transportation, and we meet with lawmakers on Capitol Hill regularly.
Yes, and we also have the Easter Seals Transportation Group, and they are improving accessible transportation services and systems by working with policymakers, transportation administrators, advocates, and allies.
Well, it's very good to know that the organization is very active and on the ground when it comes to making sure that, this is something that is a priority to you guys. It's very comforting to know that. So, when we talk about, accessibility, what standards should be, in place for travel when it comes to this, to the disabled community?
It really all starts with respect, and treating people with respect means making things accessible. And it means affording disabled passengers the same dignity as non-disabled passengers. And right now, that's just not happening. I know a lot of disabled people have to figure out when they can eat or drink before going on the plane, because they can't access the bathrooms. And they can't go on the chair. They can't go on the plane in their own chairs. They're being carried on the plane. It's just not dignified, and it's really a big issue.
Absolutely. We also do a lot of work in disability employment, which makes sense now. It's actually National Disability Employment Awareness Month in October. And so I just want to add that the best way to have accessible air travel is to employ disabled people in all aspects of air travel. That's all the way from engineering and design to policymaking to carrying out the daily functions of air travel. We should be employing people with disabilities in every step of the process. That's the best way to head towards equity.
So, my next question was going to be, are you guys seeing any kind of positive examples of progress? But it seems like there's not really much progress there other than the work that you all are doing. So how, I know you had mentioned, Aaron, the first thing is respect. What are some other things that can come into play so that we can see those positive signs of equity when being built?
Yeah, I will say that one thing that I think shows that we are on the path to equity is that the general population is seemingly starting to understand just how serious this problem of air travel inequity is. I think that for a long time, a lot of people have been able to really easily write off that wheelchairs being damaged, people not being able to go to the bathroom. Oh, these are just kind of inconveniences. And I think in the last year, especially, we have made great strides to show that these are not just mere inconveniences. These are actually dangerous situations, and they are entirely unacceptable.
Right. And when we were in DC for our Easter Seals forum, Dr. Rory Trooper said that it's like if airlines were cutting off people's legs. And that's what's happening with people who get damage to their wheelchairs. And you can really, the audience there really understood the gravity of that.
Yeah, and I'd say one other sign that, you brought up is there really nothing good happening? I'd say that we are starting to see commitments and promises coming out of the airline industry, and that becoming popularized in mainstream media, getting this conversation actually being spoken about. For example, there was the popular story recently about Delta creating the design of planes where people could stay in their chairs. And actually, Delta Airlines is quite committed to hiring people with disabilities. We actually recently partnered with them and are building a pipeline of candidates who have been trained by our Easter Seals network of workforce programs to then be employed by Delta, which is really exciting. So it's definitely not that nothing is happening. We're on the path to equity, and I really hope that this train can keep on moving forward.
Well, that's very encouraging to hear. At least that there's something happening.
Mm-hmm.
Now, both of you have a podcast that we discussed the last time that you were here. How has it been for you both to share your own perspectives on these issues with that platform?
Our podcast is really conversational, and everyone on the podcast has a disability, and they have different disabilities and different lived experiences, and that diversity really lends itself to dynamic, authentic, powerful discussions, and it's really a learning experience for both of us.
Yeah, and I think our podcast is really exciting and special to me because, of course, we do discuss issues and policy on the podcast, but it's also a place that is entirely dedicated to being a space where an entirely disabled group of people can talk about other aspects of life.
Well, October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and the White House is going pink. Take a look. They might have to change it to the Pink House today. By the way, in America, nearly 300,000 people are diagnosed with breast cancer every year. President Biden has been very vocal about ending cancer and officially declared October 2023 to be National Breast Cancer Awareness Month. The president hopes the message will honor those we have lost while offering strength to those who are still fighting. Well, thank you so much for being with us for The Advocate today. You can stream us live by downloading the app in the Apple or Google Play Store, and also be sure to subscribe to our YouTube page. For The Advocate channel today, I'm Rachel Smith. Take care.